I'm very excited for this Sunny V2 video about John Daly. This dude, I'm pretty sure it's Daly. This dude is genuinely, some would say, the greatest golfer to ever live. And by some people, I mean mainly me. I think that this dude is hilarious, and I'm sure this video is going to show me something crazy, like, I don't know, he kicked a puppy or something, but I'm mainly going to focus on the cool things, like his alcoholism, okay? And also, for those of you that have been wondering where I was gone for like 2 weeks. I have a valid excuse. I was being lazy. Well, I was out of town for work 1 week, and then the next week, I literally just was being lazy. So, John Daly.
Tiger Woods was
John Daly
hungover and threw $55,000 into the river during a fight with his fourth wife. John Daly is a name you'll never forget from this
Daly
onwards.
You're completely different from most athletes. You hate exercise, you despise health food, you smoke, you drink.
His insane lifestyle began after starting a golf scholarship.
I'm sorry, man, but I just think that's so funny to me. And I know the golf fans are going to get very upset. I've played golf like twice in my life. It is not really for me, but I know people that really enjoy golf. It's usually people that have too much free time on their hands. But that being said, it is one of the only sports that I've ever played. I played football in high school. I played a little bit of baseball. I was bored by baseball, and I tried to get into hockey, right? But, well, hockey might be an exception to this, but golf is one of the only sports that I've ever played where I feel like drinking beer throughout the entire time would not it wouldn't just not be a detriment to you. It would make you better. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't just take a few shots and then play football. I'd probably throw up. I'd feel super dehydrated. Golf is different, though. The reason I say hockey might also be different is because I feel like you could definitely fight a little bit better off a buzz.
Where at the age of 18, his coach would put him on a very unique diet.
He used to smoke
beer,
Marlboro Lights.
cigarettes,
Start smoking. Here, have a cigarette. Whatever you got to do to keep the weight off.
On top of smoking cigarettes,
Do you think he kept the weight off, guys?
John began to eat nothing but popcorn, Diet Coke, and Jack Daniels, stating in his book, "Most of the time I was drinking Jack like you wouldn't believe. A fifth a day,
sometimes more. If I was in a bar, it would be Jack and Diet Coke. The Diet Coke is always funny. It's always funny when somebody's like, I'm gonna be responsible. I'm not going to get a Jack and Coke. I'm going to get Jack and Diet Coke. Because Jack is pretty high in calories, man. It's a high-calorie drink. So the Diet Coke, I guess you're avoiding sugar. Jack Daniels is sugary. I don't know. If I was home or in a hotel, you know what? He's probably going to read the whole thing.
More. Most people would be...
No, it's good. If I was home or in a hotel, I just drink it straight out of the bottle. That's like shame. That's him being in person. It's crazy. This is true. I rarely meet people that are willing to just like order whiskey or bourbon neat because I feel like maybe they'll be judged. I personally don't care, but I've definitely seen people who are like, just Jack as it is, you know? But what makes him choose Diet Coke at a bar, but nothing else elsewhere? Maybe, you know what, it probably has to do with the price. I don't know. Let's ask him.
He drunk for a month on what I'd had before dinner, before later adding that he didn't even drink water.
I used to drink anywhere from 12 to 20 Diet Cokes a day.
How?
I don't know, because I don't drink water. I hate water. I can't.
What do you mean how? What do you mean how could he drink 12 Diet Cokes? That's probably pretty easy, man. And also, the first ingredient in Diet Coke is water, I think. Let me look at this little thing here. Carbonated water is the first ingredient in this Coca-Cola Ultimate Zero, whatever it's called. That's the first ingredient. Okay, there's water in there. Now, no doctor is going to be like, don't worry about drinking water. Just keep consuming your Diet Cokes, right? They're always going to, and I would also recommend water, but he's not going to die. You know what I mean? Sometimes people forget that there's water in Coke.
Cannot stand to drink water.
With this in mind, it's no surprise that vegetables were also out of the question. Quote, I don't eat beans, spinach, broccoli, any of that stuff. When I was young, my dad would force it down me and I would throw it up. However, unbelievably,
my mom would force me to eat certain foods and I just grew to like them. Like her chili was always super spicy to me as a kid, like hurt me physically going in and out. And she's like, well, that's what's for dinner. So I hope you figure it out. Grow up. I was like 6. Now I love her chili. Now, whenever winter rolls around, I think about that chili, even though I'm nowhere near them. I'm south. It doesn't even get cold here anymore. Okay? It doesn't get cold where I live. It gets cold where they still live. But like, I think about that, you know? It's crazy how you go from hating it to whatever.
This diet worked, given Daly lost the
Oh my God, 65 pounds?
Almost every class as a result of the
unimportant.
drinking.
Weight loss is more important than education, right?
Sit in my room and drink straight out of a Jack Daniels bottle, then go practice for 3 or 4 hours. Yet this would only help him to become a better golfer.
When I had a good buzz going, I could play really good golf. And I think
True.
It's just because the body's so loose and like free.
Not to mention he was...
But there's that sweet spot, dude. There's that sweet spot. Everyone thinks that like they'll be really great at stuff and super confident when they're drunk. I think that the absolute sweetest spot is a buzz, right? Between sober and drunk, right in the middle, you get that little bit of social confidence to maybe perform or go a little extra in your work, but then also you don't have to deal with like the super crazy hangover and the goofiness that comes from being drunk and potentially saying something that you might regret. Because I don't always believe that drunk people are always speaking the truth. I think that drunk people just speak whatever like they have no filter, you know what I mean? But that doesn't always mean like it's truly how they feel. I don't know how to explain it. You know what I'm saying? The point is, don't get super drunk.
Also, quote, one of the hardest working guys on the team.
Crazy.
This, in combination with over 16 years of practice, led Daly to win his first ever professional tournament at the age of 21, writing, "My winner's check was for $6,700. The next 2 months I made about $28,000 in 4 events.
Wow.
Yet this wasn't the only way that John Daly began to make money. On the Full Send
I'll
podcast,
try to pause less because I just realized that we're 6 minutes into recording. We're only 2 minutes in the video barely. But
John explained that he'd bet $100 per hole against unsuspecting players.
$100 a hole. Paid for my hotel room. Paid for
Wow.
my drinks. Paid for everything.
Described in his book as
the gambling isn't bad. All you have to do is win, you know? Just win.
playing other guys for money, usually men at the local golf clubs who thought they were better than they were, who figured they could kick this fat kid's ass. That's the way I spent my summers. Think of it as my permanent part-time job. Yet
Nice.
this would also introduce him to the toxic world of gambling. About 3 years after turning pro-
What do you mean toxic? He was winning. If you're winning, it's not toxic. It's just regular, cool, sick, awesome gambling.
John won $16,000 in a South African tournament before losing the entire amount at a casino less than 24
Oh,
hours
never mind.
later. In a fit of rage, Daly completely trashed his hotel room.
What would you
also
go to?
introducing the
Like, here's the thing, right? He could gamble off of his own skill and potentially make a lot of money. The fact that he would waste it on like roulette, they showed roulette. He could have lost it on anything, but the fact that he lost it, it's like, come on, man, stick to what you know. Like, what do you card count? Or like, you're just gonna play blackjack and get into card counting and stuff like that? I don't think so, man.
early stages of his potentially volatile nature.
Sometimes I'd beat my bus up. Sometimes I'd beat my car up. Sometimes I'd beat a hotel room up.
Despite
Yeah, been there,
this,
dude.
John would go on to win.
Hey, as long as you're not hitting people, you know, you kind of get away with your childish behavior. I did that forever. I would just break things. I would never hurt people, and that would be my excuse. Well, I would never hurt a person. It's just stupid.
His third significant event, which just so happened to have been the PGA Championship, turning John Daly into an overnight superstar.
It was crazy. There was 4,000 people sitting in front of the clubhouse and on the driving range.
For you.
Just waiting for me to get in. And trust me, I was not used to.
All of a sudden, I was being offered tons of money to show up for Monday and Tuesday corporate outings and fundraisers. I was getting paid $25,000, $50,000, $75,000 a pop to hang with golf lovers for half a day. John was paid $230,000 for the championship win itself, yet he'd give $30,000 to the kids of
Wow.
a spectator who was killed by lightning midway through the tournament. This kind of generosity helped John to build a cult-like fan base of people who loved his rough edges.
You have a simple motto. This is a quote. I just hit it as hard as I can, and if I can find it, I hit it again.
Which he
Wow.
was then able to monetize through some very funny
He looks like, in all of these old shots, he looks like a human being with a baby head.
sponsorships. Daly received endorsements from Dunkin' Donuts, Hooters, and a diet pill called Trim Spa.
The Dunkin' Donuts sponsorship, man. I'm telling you what, Dunkin' Donuts, if they ever want to sponsor me, I'm down, man. Can you start just sending me coffee all the time? I would love just a card like the celebrities that have a Chipotle card. I don't want a Chipotle card because you don't understand double protein. I swear I order double protein from Chipotle, and the only way it works out is if you go there, because then you can kind of give them a look. Like if you order double protein and you're in the line and you look at them like, come on, bro, we know that's not double protein. Then they'll be like, whoops, and put a little extra. If you do mobile ordering through Chipotle, don't ever pay for the double protein, bro. They don't mean it. They like, and that's the only thing I care about. Like, I feel like Chipotle is overrated. Okay, now I know this is gonna sound it's gonna sound hypocritical because I'm about to praise Dunkin' Donuts, but Dunkin' Donuts, I'm telling you right now, their bacon, egg, and cheese croissant, and a cold brew coffee. You know, I just drink coffee black most of the time. Every morning, I'd be a billionaire by now, truthfully. So Dunkin', if you want to change a man's life,
It was the golf-specific sponsorships that
if you can sponsor John, you can sponsor me. Okay.
began to make him millions. I made another $236,000 in 1991 just for playing with ping clubs and wearing a ping shirt and a ping hat. And that was only the beginning. Early in 1992, I signed my first really big sponsorship contract, a 10-year deal with Wilson that paid me millions of dollars a year. However, at the same time, Daly's performance began to go downhill rapidly. After placing first at the PGA Championship, Daly returned the following year to achieve 82nd place, explaining on the Full Send podcast that he'd spent all night drinking, arriving at 7:30 for a 7:32 tee-off.
There were some times on tour that I didn't sober up to about the 13th hole. Yeah, you get in at 7:30 in the morning. I got a tee time at 8:05 or 9 o'clock.
You'd be out till
Sometimes,
7 or 7:30 in the morning when you...
That sounds terrible, man.
Yeah.
It stated in his book, basically my golf game in 1992 played second fiddle to making money and partying. Instead of partying, I guess I ought to just say drinking, which is what it was. For the first time in my life, I let my golf game slide. That whole year, I don't think I practiced more than 2 days in a row, and it showed. Daly's poor performance brought about fits of anger, where he'd fight his opponents, break clubs, or throw them into the water, leading to a suspension from the PGA Tour on account.
You can have a little troublemaker in the PGA, in the Pro Golfer Association, whatever it means.
Of bad behavior. On top of this, Daly was suffering from clear midday alcohol withdrawal, made worse by antidepressants, which gave him the shakes and the sweats and diarrhea.
Dear
For this
God,
reason,
dude.
Daly made the choice to quit drinking.
That sounds miserable. I know I joked about how cool alcoholism was. It's a joke. I know there's always somebody who'll get worked up. Luckily, this isn't Twitter. But that sounds god-awful. Sounds god-awful.
Drinking. However, he'd explained that his sobriety made no difference, as he'd simply swap one addiction for another. He'd write in his book, at rehab they call it cross-addiction. They warn you that when you give up one thing, like whiskey, you're gonna be looking to replace it with something else. For me, when I stopped drinking, I started eating more chocolate. Sometimes I'd eat 15, 20 packs of M&Ms around with peanuts.
That's crazy.
I ate chocolate chip muffins and chocolate croissants all day long every day of the tournament.
Peanut M&Ms sound great, right? So thanks for I ate chocolate chip muffins and chocolate croissants all day long every day of the tournament. That's true though, man. It's so easy to move on from one addiction to the next.
Which for whatever reason seemed to work, as John Daly was about to make a comeback. After 3 years of very average golfing, Daly came out of nowhere to win the incredibly prestigious
on the chocolate diet
British Open, doing so on a daily diet of 9 chocolate chip muffins.
I love those, dude. The Otis, not just the chocolate chip muffins, but the chocolate chip muffins. So the muffin part itself is actually chocolate, and it's got chocolate chips on the inside. Those are the best, dude. I love those.
The fashion, he ignored a phone call from the US president just so he could eat, stating, "But I still haven't found my dinner yet and I'm starving. Besides, I didn't even vote for the guy," showing that Daly had the whole world in his hands until he started drinking again. On the brink of divorce with his second wife, Daly gave in and headed out for a big night at the bar before landing himself in hospital after falling through a hotel door. He'd check himself back into rehab.
I thought he was about to say falling through a hotel floor, which would be crazy. Falling through a hotel door is I don't know, he was unlocking it and fell through? Did he bust through it?
Around 2 days later, although the media had already gotten hold of the story and his endorsements weren't happy. My two main sponsors, Wilson and Reebok, had dropped me while I was in rehab. The Wilson deal paid me several million a year plus bonuses, and I'd just done another 5-year deal with Reebok. As an alternative, Daly accepted a $1.2 million per year sponsorship from Callaway on the one condition that he stay sober. However, he eventually concluded that the deal wasn't worth it.
A sponsor came to him and said, $3 million, we want to send you to rehab though, and he looked at him and said, "I'm good," and took a sip.
Although this attitude would then help him beat Tiger Woods in a pretty...
Of course, Bert loves John Daly, dude. He wants to be him so bad. Bert is one of those people that, for sure, you'll hear Bert talk about it all the time, man. Bert will always talk about, secretly I'm an athlete, right? You know that, right? I just make some bad choices.
Funny way. Daly had qualified for a small 16-person tournament, and on the night before had drunk 3 bottles of Crown whiskey, leading Tiger to make some cocky remarks about how Daly had no chance of winning.
And he says, "I'm probably going to kick his ass because JD's drunk right now." I said, "Oh, okay."
When the tournament started the following day, Daly decided to troll Tiger by acting as though he was still drunk.
And he is looking at me the whole day. I've got drinks coming down, people bringing me drinks on the golf course. He goes, "What are you drinking?" I said, "Oh, I got my Crown in here, man. I'm fine." Not 1 ounce alcohol, because if you do that, you get in trouble on the tour. But I got him thinking that I was really still drinking.
Helping John to completely demolish the tournament.
Wow.
I shoot 65 and beat him by like 6 shots. It's about the
this is the one that I've heard about.
last time I ever beat him.
Daly then earned $4 million in 2004 and 2005, yet this would only fuel an addiction addiction worse
Oh
than
my
any he
God.
experienced before.
Gambling.
In Vegas, I'd play the $5,000 slot machine.
Every time you pull it, how much is that?
They're just eating hot wings and drinking beer on this podcast. Can I be on this podcast? It seems like a chill podcast. I was full send. Never mind.
$5,000.
I don't know.
$5,000
Is
spent.
full send bad? I don't know. I feel like what's the ones that everyone's mad at? I don't want to go on any of those ones where they like throw fits because like the Barbie movie exists or because what's an alternative to the Barbie movie? You know what I mean? You know, like some movies come out and right leaning political people are upset, and then other movies come out and left leaning people are upset. I don't want to go on any podcast where like that's all they do is they talk about how upset they are about something in movies or something. The games, the libtards, no, the Republicans, they're ruining everything, blah blah blah, and they're offensive and they're not offensive enough. I don't want to go on any of those podcasts and just whine.
While playing these $5,000
I don't know if Full Send is like that. I don't watch them. I've heard of Full Send though.
machines, Daly fed through $600,000 in a night without winning, before taking out another $600,000 which he'd then lose again, meaning he'd lost $1.2 million in the space of 5 hours. By this point, Daly was up to his fourth wife, who confronted him about his gambling problem, initiating an argument that ended in the strangest way possible. I won like $55,000 in the casino, and I said to my fourth wife Cherie, if you're gonna yell and scream at me about this, I threw it over the bridge going over to Memphis from Arkansas. I threw all the money out the car window and said, you know what, if you want that money, you can go find it, but let me tell you something, you don't have a job, you're not working, I'm supporting you, I'm paying all the bills. My buddy then took her to a McDonald's drive-thru and got her 2 cheeseburgers and some french fries and a soda, and it was like, okay, this is how you can live from now on.
Oh my
if
God,
that's the
dude.
way you want it. When John published his book in 2006, he'd gambled away $55 million over a 15-year period. However, the worst was still yet to come. In 2007, an article was written on Daly's golf performance stating, John Daly withdrew from 5 tournaments and missed the cut on 8 others on the PGA Tour. His best finish was 3rd place at the Skins game, which only had 4 players. As a result, Daly lost his card, and it might have had something to do with his ever-declining diet. In 2008, CBS
Hey, I'll have you know I read this very long post on Twitter about how a Big Mac is more healthy than a salad.
reporter Will
What,
Brinson
you know,
was given the job to
is that
watch
true?
Daly during a professional game, noting
No.
that he consumed 21 cigs, 12 Diet Cokes, 6 packs of peanut M&Ms, 0.0 ounces of water.
Man, I was a big fan of the peanut M&Ms, and I don't blame him, man. I love peanut M&Ms. 12 Diet Cokes, 21 cigarettes. I like how 21 cigarettes is kind of as if we're counting macros or micros on fucking cigarettes. Oh, yeah. There's, how many grams of protein do you think are in 21 cigs? Nothing. 0 ounces of water, though.
And the alcohol consumption hadn't stopped either. Only 4 months after writing about his diet, Daly was arrested for passing out in front of Hooters, with the negative press resulting in another 6-month ban from all professional golf. As a consolation, Daly's mugshot was placed proudly inside the restaurant. However, he'd end the year with earnings of only $56,000, forcing yet another change in John Daly's life. Having grown tired of golf club dress codes, Daly decided to purchase his local course.
You don't like a dress code in golf, that you find that offensive. You have your own golf course that you bought. Is there a dress code there?
But basically, all you got to do is cover your private parts and you can play my golf course.
Initially running the club
Wow.
at a loss, just so the
Why is there a dress code for golf? You can't just have some regular ass dude chilling out there?
town had somewhere to play.
You can't have the pores in here. We can't have any of them pores wearing their t-shirts and their jorts.
250 to 350,000 a year, somewhere in there. Anybody, kids or teams that want to come here and play, I think everybody should have a chance to play golf. But if you're on a team, you're more than welcome to come here and play free and have fun.
Here, Daly was able
Wow.
to practice and make a super successful comeback in 2016. Yet more recently, his life has taken a turn as a result of bladder cancer. Despite
Damn.
this, Daly has since achieved his best score in professional golf ever, has found massive success with clothing collaborations through a company called Loudmouth, and has done so all while
Hey, man, those are kind of sick, though.
establishing one of the greatest legacies in professional sporting
History. We're just going to go ahead and, because to loop and start playing something else. That wasn't nearly as bad. I was a little worried before going in because, you're like, oh, I've heard of this guy. He's like, he drinks and he just wins. He's crazy. He just keeps somehow making money and pulling shit off. I was afraid we were going to, I don't know, hear that he hates Indian people or something, I don't know, something wild like that. Where you'd be like, oh man, I guess he's just racist or something. I don't know. And he might be, but he's good at hiding it. Okay. So still cool guy. That's my ruling. That's my ruling on that. Still a cool guy.